So it's March, that means it's Macintosh. So we're doing a Mac-based video today. I'm going on a bit of a road trip, 3 hours there and 3 hours back to pick up LC3. It was on eBay, it was marked as used, but the description said not tested, so who knows. There were only a couple of photos in the listing and they were all with the case cover on, so I asked him to take the cover off and check the battery, which he did very kindly, and it looks like there's been no battery leakage. It was hard to tell from the photo whether the capacitors are leaking or not, so we're going to pick it up. But it's in box and it comes with the accessories, so that's very nice. It hasn't got a screen, but it's I've had an LC3 before, but it doesn't work, and I really want to get one working, particularly now I've got the 12-inch RGB monitor working, because they look really good together. So hopefully it works. We'll know in about about 6 hours. So here it is, the Mac. So this was, I picked this up from somewhere near Kent. Looks like it was originally supplied somewhere in Croydon. And apparently in here is a Macintosh LC III, 4 megabytes of RAM, high density floppy disk, 160 megabyte hard disk, okay, and 512 of VRAM, and it's version 7.1. I didn't realize there were that many iterations of the LC3. Maybe that's something slightly different. Just wondering if there's any kind of dates code on here. Can't see one. It's box 3 of 8, so not sure what was in the others. Weight 75 kilos. I'm guessing that's the entirety rather than just this one, but as you can see, it's boxed. It's very dusty, but it is complete, as in the box is complete. It's not too ruined anywhere. I can't see a date on this sticker. I think it may have been off the end here, but there is a copyright 1993 here, so that all sounds correct. So let's open it up, see what's inside. Ooh, horrible noise. So we have got the accessories box. That's nice, and it feels full. I'll put that to one side, look at it again, and we have the polystyrene too. Okay, so this has been quite well preserved. It's still in its original box, in the original packaging, and here it is. So let's just move the box to one side. We're going to have a look at this very soon. Let's have a quick look in the accessories box, see what's in there. So this is the correct accessories box. Didn't notice if the box had a serial number on. The machines could have a serial number, isn't it? I wonder if they match. There's nothing on this accessories box that's got a serial number on it. But let's have a little look. Keyboard. Very nice. Apple keyboard too. It's the original bag. So it's slightly discoloured, so this keyboard has been used. It's not original. Not new, old stock or anything. Slightly discoloured. Looks in reasonably good condition, though, a few little marks, but the Apple logo is nice and bright, so that's very nice. The feet haven't been broken off. Nice. Okay, it's nice that it was in its original little bag. So we've got some packing list for your Macintosh colour display. So this hasn't got a display. I have got my 12-inch RGB that was fixed recently that I'm hoping to pair back up with this. Getting started with your LC3. So basically it seems to have the correct documentation with it. Macintosh User's Guide for System 7.1. That's what the 7.1 on the box refers to, isn't it? Not version 7.1 of the LC3, version 7.1 of the Mac OS. What's in there? Peripheral products guarantee. It's for the keyboard. Owner's guide for the keyboard. Okay, that's nice to have. Never seen one of those before. Apple stickers. I doubt they stick. Having been, well, they're a bit sticky actually, but they are pretty. I like those. It's good. What's in here? This looks like an envelope that should have software in it. Although the picture on the front is a documentation picture, isn't it? So what is in here? Warranty registration, warranty and license agreement. Okay, so that's all pretty standard stuff. Nothing very exciting there. So we haven't got any floppy disks in this box by the looks of it, which is a shame, but that's fine. I do actually have a set of System 7 floppies. Packing list. Macintosh LC III, correct. Apple desktop bus mouse. Hadn't got to that yet, but here it is. Definitely used. The sticker's been shifted and it's a bit discoloured, and it feels just a little bit grubby. So, so that's definitely used, but welcome to have. So that is in there. What else we got here? We've got. Oh, you can guess what these are. I mean, this is the ADB connector for the keyboard. The mouse has got its own built-in. So what's this? Because there's a second ADB. This one looks like it's never been used. So that's nice. Nice ADB cable. It's obviously a keyboard one because it's got the spring in it. Customer feedback questionnaire. Oh, should we fill this in? It'd be fun to fill in one of those one day and send it to, where am I supposed to be sending it? Holly Hill Industrial, Cork Island. I got a feeling that factory is now deserted. So that ain't going to get looked at, is it? Ease of installation. I don't know. Satisfied. Appearance. Satisfied. Good, good. Overall satisfaction rating. Don't know. Update your mouse. This shows you how to use a mouse. So in 1984, mice were pretty rare. People, I mean, there was with the original Mac, there was a audio tape, wasn't there, that showed you how to use the Mac and the mouse. I don't think we need that in 93, 94. This is copyright 93. So in here would have been originally the computer, the mouse, the microphone, which isn't in there, but I do have one. Power cords, not in there. Apple keyboard, Apple keyboard cable, yes. So a set of discs, which we haven't got, but I have got individually. So there's a couple of little documents that are missing by the looks of it. But nice, it's nice to have the accessories box. Not quite everything in it, but quite a lot of things in it. Including the keyboard. So we're going to need the keyboard and the mouse, aren't we? So not sure why I'm putting those away. Right, let's move that to one side and have a look at the Mac. So here it is. It's a bit grubby, as in a bit dusty, but it's not scratched. There's a very slight amount of yellowing here at the front, more on this side than the right. Also down the side there's a little bit of yellowing, but not much. And this one's side's pretty good. Across the front, no scratches. Powered inject drive. Let's have a look at the back. So it's pretty standard stuff on the back. You've got the IEC power display, 2 serial ports, SCSI port, ADB and audio in and out. Nothing in the accessory slot. No screw in the security thing. I've never seen one with a security screw in, but I suspect they never actually came with those. It was an optional thing. The 2 catches that hold the lid on are intact, which is nice. I'm going to be opening this up. So the inside of the lid's fine. A little bit of dust from the fan. Got a date code there, but I can't quite read it. 31st of the 3rd, 11, which doesn't make sense. Because this was definitely not 2011 or 1911. So that's not a date card code. So here we have the internals, pretty clean. There's dust on the fan. There's not a lot of other dust. It's still got the PRAM battery in. So, as I said, I got the guy to take a photo of the inside, and it did have the battery in, but I couldn't see any leakage. Let's get it out and find out. Do we have a dead LC3? So unfortunately it was described as used, which, as I've said before, eBay means it's working, but it's also described as not tested. So who knows? Lithium battery, blah 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 blah. January 93. This is the original battery, and it hasn't leaked. Maybe it's because of the brand. It's not one of those other. Is it the Maxell ones? That the kind of red ones. Don't remember seeing a blue one before. Anyway, whatever it is, it hasn't leaked, despite being the original. So that's very, very good. So what else have we got in here? Let's just put that cover back on. So the LC3 is quite a step up from the original LC and LC2 in that it was quite a lot more powerful. Why is that not going back on? There we go. And it was a little bit more upgradable, as in, I think the memory limit was lifted a little bit. It's a very compact motherboard. You've got a socket here. I don't know if that's the RAM and that's the VRAM, I think. It's because the hard drive, floppy drive, fan, and speaker, nothing in the processor direct slot, which we knew from the back already. Okay, this memory kind of looks like it's not in properly, but the lugs are in the holes. So I'm just going to reseat that, just in case. It's popped out in transit. I don't know why it didn't look right. That does look better, I don't know why. So there's the VRAM, isn't it? Onboard RAM and extra RAM. This is a Samsung unit, it's probably not the original, particularly as it's got a compact logo on it. So no, definitely not the original. But we'll see how big that is and whether it's working in a bit. Everything else seems to be in order. Let's have a little look at these caps. I'm not sure. I think they're fine. They kind of shouldn't be, given the age and the time period this has come from. They should be leaking all over the place. They don't look too bad. Is it normal for the ROMs to be socketed on an LC3? Were there more than one revision of the motherboard? Don't know. And is the LC3 one of the ones that doesn't boot up without the PRAM battery in? Let's find out. Let's find out. So I'm going to leave the lid off in case we need to put a battery in. I'm going to go and get the monitor, and then we'll give it a try. Hard disk, the original one, by the way. So it should be 160 megabytes, according to the box. Yes, there is. 160 megabytes. Fine, so it doesn't look like it's been upgraded much apart from the RAM. Right, let's go get the monitor. Okay, I think we're good to go. Power lead. Extinguisher is a little bit further away than normal, but hopefully there'll be no sparks as it's been so well looked after. That's a big assumption as far as capacitors go. All right, nothing magical's happened so far, so that's good. Let's turn on the monitor. And then let's turn on the LC3. Got a fan, got a chime. Okay, that's good. I can hear the hard drive spinning up. We have a display. Ooh. And we have a mouse cursor. We have a happy Mac. Oh my word. Okay, so the LC3 I had before that actually came with this monitor never worked. It was sold as working, and there's pictures on the listing that showed it working. But by the time I got it home and tried it, it never actually ever worked. So this is really nice to see this working. Okie dokie. So it looks like maybe Nikki was the person who last used this. I'm just going to reposition the main camera. Even on the auto setting, we're not getting a lot of refresh rate issues, so that's really nice. So let's have a look about this Mac. Okie dokie. Oh, there's a custom theme. This bar across the top's an unusual colour. So, Macintosh LC III, 7.1, total memory 8 megabytes. So there's 4 megs on the board, must be 4 megs in that module. System 7.1 will work very happily in 8 megs as far as I understand it, so that's really nice. So, what else do we want to know? Still some software on here, that's not what I want. Oh, I was going to say, still some software on here, but actually it looks like some of the stuff's been cleaned off. So, they did have Quark Express 3.3, Microsoft Word 6, Find Pro 2, whatever that is. So that's interesting. Let's have a little look. In fact, let's have a little look in here. I've got my hand across this bit intentionally because I've just spotted a few things. It looks like this might have been used in the medical world. So we'll probably not show any more from that folder. But interestingly, it looks like it was from Bristol originally, which is where it's ended up back coming to. So that's nice. Let's come back home. So let's have a look in here, see what apps are installed. So what have we got? We've got a Quark Express folder. Is there anything in it? Oh, there is. Okay, that's nice. We've got Compact Pro. So that's a compression bit of software by the looks of it. Microsoft Word 6. Yep. Microsoft folder. So is that just a generic help? Yeah, that's kind of stuff to use with Word. Mac Draw 2. Okay, also working. Nice. Clip art, is that MW? Is that Microsoft Word clip art? Don't know. Apple File Exchange, so maybe news on a network. Cool, so some of the original apps are on here, which is nice. I've never used Quark Express. And 8 megs might be a little bit much for that, I don't know. But certainly the processor in here is good enough to be running that. Okay, so what else do we need to look at? Utilities. Eclipse, not sure what Eclipse is. Let's find out. Let's have a look at the README. Thank you and enjoy. Okay, not very helpful. Doesn't tell me what it is, so I have to look that up. I'm not going to run it without knowing what it is. STD. So is that smart downloader? It's not sexually transmitted disease, not antivirus software. The Grouch. Empty. Disk first aid, useful. Disinfectant, that is antivirus. And the Norton Utilities. I was always a big fan of the Norton Utilities on PC. Don't really know how it works that well on the Mac, but it looks like we've got the same kind of stuff. Norton Disk Doctor for fixing hard and soft errors on drives. Unerase for undeleting stuff. Volume recovered. Resurrector formatted or crashed disk. So yeah, if you accidentally format a floppy, you might be able to recover it with that, whereas unerase wouldn't work because unerase relies on trying to find the directory entry that's still in there, whereas volume recovered actually looks for data files. Speed disk, caching, and Norton backup for backing up your files. Very nice. So utilities, anything else? So there's a couple of little things here. Floppy, I think that's a floppy copier. Encrypting files, deleting files securely, and disk editor, that's presumably like a hex editor for disks. So all nice stuff to have. So it booted without the PRAM battery in, didn't it? Thinking about it, which is nice. Okie dokie. So pretty standard antivirus software. Let's click scan. See how long this takes. So 160 megabyte hard drive. That was pretty decent size for the time, really. Most of the other Macs I've got come from around this era came with 40 megabyte hard drives, or maybe 80. So it wasn't until things like the G3 when you started to get into the gigabyte capacity. So 160, that's pretty decent. It's pretty quiet. Sounds like it's working very happily. I've got a few spares now anyway. So, and there's always the option of replacing it with something like a Blue SCSI. But I do like the sound of a hard drive. I've said that in my videos before. So this drive seems to be working, which is really nice. We should test the floppy drive. So we have a high density drive floppy. The drive itself looks really clean, so I'm just going to go straight for it. It's presumably, I'm going to just cancel that scan and quit. So presumably it's going to, this is not, I was going to say, it should be able to recognize the disk. This is not a Macintosh disk. Would you like to initialize it? I would. Thank you very much for asking. We're going to erase everything on that disk, and we're going to call it test. Let's see if this works. It's really quiet. That's another reassuring sign. It's really, really quiet. So I think the fan and the hard drive are kind of the two noisy things. And they're not that bad at all. And with the case on it, it's going to be even quieter. I think I'm going to like this machine. I love the form factor. I love that kind of slightly angled pizza box thing. And with a monitor on top, it just looks brilliant. I'm really happy with the keyboard. It needs a clean. And I can take those keycaps off and give them a little retro bright. Actually, I think I might do that. The top case just very, very slightly yellowed on the keyboard. I'm probably not going to retro bright the cover of the LC3 itself, just because it's such a small area that it would need retro brighting. Very nice. So this is a bit of a success, I think. I think we deserve one, because the other LC3, because it never worked, I did send it off to get it recapped, and unfortunately, because the capacitors had leaked so much, we ended up having, let's get rid of that, getting one of the pads lifting off. Has it finished formatting? It hasn't said anything. It hasn't said that it's finished. Did I miss it? But it certainly seems to have worked. There's a disc. We haven't got anything we can put on it, but okay, that seems to have worked. Let's have a quick look in the control panels, see what's in here. Cache switch, what is that? don't know, but it can't be used with this Macintosh. Colour. So we have got colour. That's what the C in LC stands for. Window colour gold, yes. Very nice. So, date and time is not going to be right because the PRAM's battery is missing. What's this? Is this a screensaver? It probably is a screensaver, isn't it? Yes. Okay. That might be fun to watch. File sharing, general controls, memory. Let's have a quick look in memory. So virtual memory is turned off. They obviously felt that 8 megs was enough. Okay, so that's all good. Monitors we know has got a 12-inch RGB attached and 640 by 480. What we can do, by looks of it, is increase the number of colours. So we're currently in 256 colour mode. And I think actually for some of the early games they really like to be in 256 colour mode. So switching to 1000s can actually make things look better on screen, but actually limit what software can run. We're going to be running some software on this in a little bit. Cool. I'll keep it at 256 for now. Mouse, I'm just going to speed up the mouse a little bit. I always find the default setting just a little bit too slow. We're just used to fast mice these days. Network numbers. Okay. So there's an empty slot on the board. I'm guessing that is for a coprocessor, a maths coprocessor. It's not surprising that that's empty. Just check the sound works. We've got the chime, so Crash Power Mac card. There were no processor upgrades for the LC3, were there? Processor upgrade cards? Has this had one in the past? Ooh, that would have been nice if it had it in, wouldn't it? So that's interesting. Startup disk, user and group views. Close view. What's that? Not sure what that is. I'll have to look that up as well. But it looks like it's an Apple one, not a third party. Let's have a quick look at this screensaver. We don't really appreciate screensavers these days, but back in the day, woohoo, they were the thing. Can we get a preview? Run on shutdown. Does that make sense? Run on shutdown? Okay, weird. Let's put this at 1 minute. And then we'll see if we can have a look at the different types. Let's speed it up a little bit. Can we have a clock? We have a little clock in the corner at the same time as the... so is that how you preview it? No. That's how you change the colours. I don't think there's any way of making it just start. So I'm going to stop talking, stop using the mouse, and we'll just let it kick in. While we're doing that, on the other camera, I'm just going to have a quick look at these capacitors with a torch. You know, they look fine, which is totally not what... Actually, no, hang on a minute. Just either side of this one here, I don't know if you're going to see this. It's just off the edge of the camera, but there's one here where either side of it, the pads do look very slightly discoloured. This one here, Probably not going to be able to see that on the camera. So I might have a little go at cleaning that with some IPA to see if it comes off or not. But overall the board looks in really good condition. If there is any leaking, it's only just started. Power supply seems to be working fine, everything's happy with the amount of power it's got. So that's all good. Has the screensaver kicked in yet, please? Please, please, please. So it's a Sonnenschein battery. I'm not familiar with that brand. If you've got one of these in your Mac, you're probably lucky. It's from Germany. It's a standard 3.6 volts, half AA. There's nothing special about it. Well, I suppose the thing that's special about it is that it hasn't leaked. So that's really nice. So now we know this starts without a PRAM battery. I'm just going to leave it empty. I'm not going to put one in. There's no point risking another leak. I'm really happy it's all just working. When you're buying second-hand Macs, particularly from this era, it's very, very touch and go whether you're going to get one that's completely dead or not. Particularly, it depends on how they've been stored, obviously, and whether the batteries have been taken out. We got lucky with this one on my first Macintosh video. If you manage to watch it all, there's some horrendous battery leaks. So if you haven't seen that yet, go and watch it. It's just so depressing. There's a couple of... It's definitely been a minute. Why hasn't this screensaver kicked in? So there's some depressing moments in that video. There's a couple of nice little bits. It's where I got my Quadra 700 from, so overall I'm happy. I was very happy with that haul, but it was just so gutting to see all those really nice Macs in pieces because of the battery leaks. Anyway, back to this. Why hasn't one got a screensaver? Maybe it still thinks there's 4 minutes on the timer because I haven't closed it. Is that maybe what's happened? Are we going to have to wait 4 minutes for a screensaver? Why don't you talk amongst yourselves and I'll sit here and wait.
2 hours later.
Do you have somewhere After Dark? And I can't remember if it's the PC version or the Mac version I've got. Oh, it started, yay! Look at that, eh? So this was Entertainment in 1993. Oh, we had it so good then, didn't we? I mean, it's so simple, but it is still a little bit mesmerising. The colours aren't quite as good on the camera as they are on the actual screen, which is a shame. It's actually quite vivid on the screen. It's a nice little display. It's not a Sony or anything, but it's pretty decent. So, really happy. Everything seems to be working. I'm just going to have a look at those pads next to the capacitors, just see if they are a little bit corroded. If we are, we've got the risky business of changing the caps. But let's just shut it off for now. Let's eject that disc, we don't need it anymore. Eject works as well, that's good. A sacrificial gear hasn't sacrificed itself yet. So this is the capacitor I was worried about that you couldn't see on the other shot. Can you see that the pads either side are just a little bit stubborn? So we're just going to clean those off with some IPA. It looks a little bit suspicious. It's a little bit greeny on the end of my cotton wool bud, which is a little bit suspicious for capacitor gunk. So I think that probably has just started leaking. Let's just have a little look at some of the others then. So I'm going to have to get this board recapped. Let's have a look at these two over here. These are the other ones. I wasn't sure whether the wires looked a little bit discoloured. Okay, so we have just started to get a little bit of leak from these capacitors. I mean, that's not a surprise. Almost all of these boards need what I'm going to do is just spend a few minutes cleaning off what I can see, because I'm not going to get it capped straight away, and it would be nice to just protect the traces as much as possible. So let's clean around all the caps. If one's leaking, they probably all are. Yeah, you can just see there's a little bit of discoloration on some of the wires. I mean, some of that could just be surface dust. After all, this is now 30 years old. And I don't suspect the motherboard has ever been cleaned, but I think it's more likely that there's a little bit of a capacitor leakage. And we'll just do what we can to minimise that. I said that should protect the traces until we can get it recapped. The biggest problem is the legs of the components nearby. If they get corroded, then that's more of an issue. But it is nice to have a working LC in the house. So yeah, those wires look a little bit discoloured. Yeah, straight away it's got dirtier. So we caught this just in time, I think. That is, I'd call that a success. We don't want any of these circuits being affected. So, in theory, over time the number of available motherboards is going to go down, isn't it? There's not going to be any new old stock of these motherboards, I wouldn't have thought. And if there is, whoever's got them is going to hang on to them and keep quiet about it. So, what we need to do is preserve them as much as possible. Does anybody know how many LC3s were made? It's got to be hundreds of thousands, isn't it? Is it in the millions? How many are still left? Who knows? We haven't found a date code on anything specific yet, have we? Let's have a look at the hard drive. Look at that in a second, let me just finish cleaning. I think some of this is dust, because it's brown, but the green stuff definitely is capacitor leakage. Okay, I think that's all the ones that are. So I've done these two. But there's another one hiding around here. So green would be bad. Green it is. So yeah, they're all leaking by the looks of it, but only just. So we've still got a functional motherboard, so they can't have lost too much of their electrical components. So yeah, so some of this is definitely dust, because I've just rubbed up some dust there, but anything that's green is unfortunately poorly capacitor. And we blame the capacitors, but it's not their fault. They were just doing a job. So if the Wikipedia article is to be believed, this is all due to some industrial espionage that happened between some manufacturers in the 90s, and a faulty electrolytic fluid recipe was stolen by one manufacturer. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But if it is, I mean, that's a bit of industrial espionage that had unexpected consequences that's lasting decades. Right, so we are going to put it back together. Let's try and find some date codes first. Revision D motherboard. Any date codes on any of this stuff? 0893, so that must be week, not month. So the other one was 0593, so early 93. This is 8th week of 93. So it's definitely a early 93 model, I would say. This whole computer is now 31 years old. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, so I'm really glad I've got a working LC3 back in my collection. I think it looks particularly great with this 12-inch RGB monitor. Hopefully you agree. Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for this video. I'll get this recapped, and no doubt you'll be seeing it again on the channel in a not too distant future.